Right. The U.S. have announced their Gold Cup squad, and it's not great, is it? I count 7 players who do not have a single cap, having been called up to the squad, and another 6 with fewer than 5. That means that literally half of our team has fewer than 5 caps going into these pre-tournament friendlies, and then the tournament itself. And this isn't great. It's been a while since the U.S. really brought a cast of like A-list stars to the Gold Cup. I don't think we've really done that since 2019. That being said, this one felt a bit more important than the 2021 and 2023 tournaments because this one comes after the embarrassing Nations League results, and also it's the last real major tournament before the World Cup. And instead, what we have is a group of largely MLS players, which isn't an awful thing usually. And some of them will probably be in our squad for the World Cup, but a lot of them also won't be. And most of the players on 0 caps, I struggle to see any of them really making a meaningful impact on the World Cup if they even make the squad. So it's disappointing. I've been frustrated for a while with how the U.S. never seems to take the Gold Cup seriously anymore. It kind of makes sense with the Nations League being shorter. Like, players, I'm sure, would rather play 2 games instead of 6. But, like, the Gold Cup, I think, is fairly important. And I also just really enjoy the Gold Cup. But again, this one especially felt important. So it's disappointing to see how many players haven't made it. There were some like misfortunes, especially in the goalkeeping department. We're fairly light on goalkeepers, though we do have Matt Turner, so that is at least someone with experience. Though I'm a bit worried about our goalkeeping department in general because we haven't seen goalkeepers really playing for their clubs in a long time, except for the MLS keepers. But in that respect, 2 of the players with 0 caps are our backup goalkeepers. Not awful goalkeepers in MLS. We got Matt Freese and Chris Brady, but the better goalkeepers, if we were going to choose from MLS, would have been Schulte and Steffen. Both of them are injured. Steffen is especially heartbreaking because it feels like he had finally played himself back into a position where he could be called up again, and then this injury comes in. So this could have been a really big moment for Zach Steffen, and instead he's once again missing out. It's hard to remember now, but there was a time when Zach Steffen was our starting keeper before Turner took his place. So it's sad to see Steffen, who probably would have been on the squad otherwise, miss out. Other injuries include Falar and Balogun. That's frustrating. Serginho Dest, who probably actually would have been on this team. That's also disappointing. Just a lot of things there. But then there's also Pulisic and Anthony Robinson, who both pulled out for either like claims of fatigue or injury, which kind of, again, I can see where they're coming with this. They've played a lot of games this season, so maybe I can't fault them too much for not choosing to like show up for the squad. But it's still a bit disappointing, I think, because like we need. It'd be nice to have a full team. It'd be nice to see where we are. And this team, some of them will be at the World Cup. And I should shout out a few players, Matt Turner being one of them, but also Chris Richards, which I'm quite excited to see Chris Richards because he's had a few injuries this time, but he's probably the future of our defense, or at least our center backs. So I'm excited for Chris Richards, and I'm glad he's on the team. It's also nice to see Tyler Adams be called up. So I think it's Richards, Adams, and Turner who are the big ones we've got on the team. So it's not completely lacking in high quality players. Still, it's just, I don't know. I wish there could have been a bit more. And some of that's injuries, some of that's players not choosing to show up. But what it leaves us with is a squad that's a bit half baked going into our last real test before the World Cup, our last chance to play in a major tournament before the World Cup. So that's disappointing. But I'm still gonna watch the games. I'm gonna try and watch the pre-tournament friendlies if I can. I live in the UK, so it's kind of hard. I wanted to watch the women's friendlies, and I didn't really find any way I could watch them here easily. And I have a feeling the same thing's going to happen with the men's friendlies. But I can watch the Gold Cup, and I'm definitely going to be watching all our Gold Cup matches. I just love the Gold Cup in general. Very underrated tournament. So I'm going to watch it. I'm going to get behind this team and root for every player. And most of them might not be in the lineup for the World Cup, but I'll still support them. And who knows, this is a chance for some MLS guys to have an opportunity. I am excited for Ajimang and Luna, especially. Luna was one of the standouts in our Nations League campaign, one of the few bright sparks. So that's something that could, like, he's a player from MLS that legitimately does have a chance at being on a World Cup team. And Ajimang, similarly, he actually has 3 goals and 4 caps, so that's pretty exciting. I'm hoping that he can have a good tournament, though I think our starting striker is going to be Haji Wright. And that's another area where I'm fairly excited. I, for a while, have wanted to see Haji Wright get more of an opportunity in this USA team. And now, really, this is his chance because he's going to be the main forward. It's interesting that Sargent isn't called up because, as far as I know, he hasn't actually had any injury issues. It seems like Pochettino doesn't really trust Sargent that much. So that's a bit odd. Either way, ragtag group of players. In 2021, we had a similar setup, and it worked out pretty well. We have a few veteran presences, and this could maybe, just maybe, be a good thing. And hear me out here, because there's just, like, a lot of just, like, sorrow and disappointment with where the U.S. are right now. It is not a good time to be supporting the USMNT, and I think a lot of the fans feel disappointed with how things are going, and there's not really a lot of excitement heading into the World Cup right now. So all of a sudden, here we have a team completely devoid of expectations. So they've lost the burden that expectations might cause, and maybe, just maybe, that can get them on the right track, because not having expectations doesn't have to be a bad thing. It allows you to fly under the radar. It puts less pressure on you. And perhaps right now that's what we need. Just something to build momentum, to try and gain some of that enjoyment that we had a few years ago back. Because this is a pretty good team. We have players performing very well. 2 of them who are going to be at the Club World Cup. Like, this is a solid team, and if we can get even like a final appearance with this squad, when really we should be in a final, but if we could win the Gold Cup, and it's still not out of the question. I saw Canada don't have Alphonso Davies on their squad. Seems like Mexico, for the most part, have taken it seriously, and they probably will be the favorites now, especially after the Nations League. But, like, this team could still win it, even with all of the inexperience. And so, again, I'm going to watch them, I'm going to get behind them, and hope for the best. And this could be exactly what we need, just to get some kind of win to get us back on track. And if we win with a, slightly backup squad, that could be a nice morale booster. And right now we really need a morale booster heading to the World Cup.